Hello, YouTubers. Another video, another thing about AI that I think is going to help you a lot kind of productionize your AI work. In the past two sessions, we started with session 0, where I basically said, here is how you download a gguff file and you can run it with a Llama CLI. It doesn't matter where you run it, you can run it anywhere you want, and that was amazing. But then we thought, okay, how do we train that model? I want to fine tune that model to teach it to kind of learn about a specific topic or a specific idea or whatever the case may be. So this model can be useful if you're building this model for some business or some purpose, whatever that purpose may be. Even if you're building it for yourself, you're trying to teach it, certain things that you want to kind of leverage AI for. We talked a little bit about how to set up the environment to kind of fine tune a model. We asked it some questions about the standard, asked it some questions about me. It didn't have that information before the fine tuning, it had it after the fine tuning. But today, kind of is the full circle, right? How do we get that data? Like I kind of skimmed through the idea that, here is a pre-trained, here's a labeled data, and I'm going to show you first, what that labeled data look like, and talk about it a little bit. But how do we get that data in, right? Like how do we actually generate, like if let's say I have the entire standard as a book, and I want to take that book and basically turn it into instructions, like prompts, right? How do I do that? What kind of strategy can I do offline on your local machine that can actually help you support that? So let's draw a map together just to kind of give you my, the high level. We started with something as simple as downloading base model, right? And from the base model, I basically went ahead and said, let's go and fine tune model, right? Kind of skipped real quick over the video and basically said, oh, just give it some JSON-L data and it's going to be fine tuned. And then we merged it. We basically merged that fine tune model. So this is merge model. You're merging it with that base model. And then the last thing you wanted to do is to basically just produce that gguff file. So what came out from the other side is the gguff file, and that gguff file, the gguff model, is basically what we use to kind of interact with the model through a CLI, which we talked about in the beginning of the video. Like in the beginning of this series, we basically said here's a CLI, which is the Llama CLI, right? And the Llama CLI will interface with that gguff. Great. But that's not the whole story, right? That's a little bit of the story, right? Because in here, in between downloading the base model, okay, you're getting the base model. Let's say you're getting it from Hugging Face, so you're getting it from the cloud. So this is your Llama base. Okay, great. So you got that down from the cloud. Sure. You can get it. You can download it manually. You could just really go to Hugging Face and literally just click download if you don't want to use their CLI tool or anything like that. But with the fine tuning, we basically went and said, oh, hey, here's a data, JSON-L, but I never told you how that data came through. Like how did I create that data? So I'm going to type in here JSON-L. It was data.jsonl, right? And then we basically merged the outcome together. So basically base model plus the trained model, it kind of gave you the gguff. Okay. Let's talk about this guy in green today, this little guy here, the JSON-L file. How do we build that? How does that come to be? Let me kind of explain to you the theory, right? And then maybe together I can show you some stuff that kind of help you do that. Let's start from the beginning. Let's assume you have a PDF file. PDF book, it doesn't matter. It can be in a text format, it can be whatever the case may be. We want to turn that guy into raw text so we can process it, right? Because PDF files, they have kind of styles, they have pictures, they have a lot of things in them that might not be suitable for the purpose of this video or the purpose of what we're trying to train. You just want to get some raw data from a book and you want to turn it into raw text. This step is optional. Maybe you can find content out there that's already in a TXT format or whatever. Just take it. That's great, right? But here comes the fun part. There's something that sits between this, like let's say, okay, we put a little script in here, and that little script basically converted, your model. So I'm just going to put here and say, okay, convert to PDF, to TXT. Okay, great. I did that. Great. But the problem is something else has to happen for that JSON-L to happen, like something in between the raw text, which is just the raw text that you have, and you want to convert that into a JSON-L. So later on, we can, go back to that big map and say, oh, that's the JSON-L that we actually need to kind of create that GGUF model. So what is this mysterious thing in the middle here and why it's important, right? So this is generate JSON-L. What this little generate JSON-L does, it basically does this. We literally go get another AI. So this is AI for AI. We go get another AI called Mistral Instruct. I'm going to get the 7 billion parameter because that's very useful. And I'm going to show you a real life example of it right now. But we basically are getting a Mistral model. So this is Mistral. And we're basically saying, hey, Mistral, take that text file that we have in here. One by one, we're going to take it paragraph by paragraph. That's just plain out programming, JSON, C#, whatever you want. Find one paragraph at a time. Take that one paragraph at a time and then give me questions. Give me questions for that paragraph. So it basically generates questions that we eventually add them in here. Let's actually do it this way. So text file, Mistral comes in, we give it a prompt. The prompt basically says, give me some questions about this particular paragraph. So paragraph by paragraph, it's reading the paragraph and generating text questions for it, right? And then, once these questions are in place, we go and convert these questions into a JSON-L format. That's the story behind that JSON-L. This little guy here in green, which is a very important guy. If you remember, when I was doing the last session, I kind of went over it super quick, but it's really important for you to see. Like, look at this. So these are all, let's see how many lines it generated. I think it's in the thousands. Yeah, about 1,833 instructions, right? And it literally went over every little detail. What is a UI exposer component? What are the different types of UI exposer component? What are bases in data flow, like base components? And it keeps finding answers to paragraphs it finds one by one and tries to build conceptual idea around it, right? This is the equivalent of what I showed you last time in the last video when I was saying, okay, who's Hassan? What's the standard? Whatever. This was just, me kind of, using a quick tool to kind of basically just tell AI, here's some data, train on it. But if you want to do some serious production business, you're not going to sit down and write data one by one. You want something smarter to basically go and say, I want the entire standard, I want the entire book about XYZ to go through that system and basically be able to process it. So talk is cheap. Show me the code. What am I trying to show you today? Well, for starters, let's just kind of start kind of doing a kind of a crystal maze kind of thing and start showing you step by step what we want to do. First of all, there is this area here. I want to cover this area here. So basically, if you have a PDF book and you want to convert that PDF book into raw text. So this whole area here, I want to show it to you because I promise you're going to find it useful. One way or another, you're going to have a PDF or whatever the case may be, and then you're going to basically need to convert it into raw text. So what did I do? I have a little script in here. And by the way, all of this in the GitHub repo. So the same GitHub repo. And I'm going to drop the link here for you just to kind of know what we're doing. I have a step for you here called a PDF to text. And this is the, one of the smaller code, that I have in here. You basically install fits, OS, and basically a bunch of other imports, and basically you clean the text, you go through the text through a regex, and basically see if you can generate one paragraph at a time. I'm going to show you a quick kind of example of it. So we're going to, instead of the standard, I'm just going to create, the standard mini, right? So here's a quick file, the standard mini.txt. So it's just a minimized version of the standard because, actually running this whole thing, it literally took over 8 hours, right? It kept running and running and running and generating, until it actually got to it. So let's just pick up something like simple, like let's say, I don't know, let's find a good paragraph in here, maybe something that talks about orchestration services, right? Orchestration services right there. There you go. Orchestrators are one of the core business logic components. So let's take that guy and let's put it in here. Okay. I wonder if there's like I'm certain there's some wrap, thing that you can do in here. I'm not exactly your go-to for the IntelliJ or JetBrains, but here we go. Some things here are not exactly right. Like this is taking too much, but you kind of want to make sure that the content makes sense. Does this content make sense? Actually, let me go old school. Let me open up a notepad that does. There you go. So orchestration services are one of the core business logic components in any system, positioned between single entity services such as processing or foundation and advanced business logic, blah blah blah. And it has all these kind of different things. And I want to kind of um, break it down into a bunch of paragraphs, right? Here's a high level view of where these services may live. That's the problem. Like your content is not actually going to show, like at least in this particular stage that we're in. We're taking this baby steps, right? So at this stage, there will actually no pictures, extracted from the PDF. So we can actually skip that one. What we can do basically is to just kind of leave it at, orchestrators are one of the core businesses, business logic components in any system, positioned between single entity services such as processing and advanced logic services such as coordination services, aggregation services, or simply exposers such as controllers, web components, or anything else. Okay, this is a nice paragraph. Okay, what we're gonna do, we're gonna drop that paragraph right here in that TXT file. Okay, this is a paragraph that talks about TXT file. What we're gonna do now, assume that we have already kind of went through this step in here. What I want to do now is to basically turn this into JSONL, right? So what am I doing? Watch this. In my code here, I'm basically going and saying, I want you to generate JSON-L. I'm basically downloading the Mistral. How do you download the Mistral model? It's very simple. I got it for you in here. If you look at I also included some documentation for it. But if you look at the Hugging Face CLI, if you don't have the Hugging Face CLI installed, that's totally fine. But the Hugging Face CLI, you can just install it, apt-get install, whatever, right? But if you have that, all you have to do really is just go and say download that Mistral 7B in the command line in here, and I'm basically saving it right just like that, and I'm just gonna hit go, and it's basically gonna go and download that for me, as you can see in that progress bar in here. I wish I could just zoom in even more for you. That would be nice. View mode, resize. Okay. Anyway, so it's downloading the model for you. I actually don't need the model. I already have it installed, so I'm not going to kind of have you sit there and wait for it. If you actually look into the Llama CLI CPP and then go into Mistral in here, it did actually update. We have to wait for it. Okay, sorry about that, guys. So let's do this because it kind of overwritten. Yeah, it's going to be super quick. See, it's picking up where it's left off. I think that's pretty cool. So that's the Mistral. So while it's doing that, I'm downloading this model. Why is this model special? Because it's an instruct kind. It's not a chat kind of model. It's an instruct kind of model where you give it some instructions and it tries to execute based on the commands that you're giving it. So this is where prompt engineering comes actually really, really, really useful, because you have to ask it exactly the right questions to be able to generate the content for you. This is Mistral. We're downloading it, we're using the Llama CLI, and then I'm saying, hey, read from here and here. Of course, we did say the standard mini, so I'm just going to go and say mini. I think that's what we called it, the standard mini, right here. There you go. Oh, I just opened up. Yeah, there you go. The standard mini.txt, which has one paragraph. And only just to be respectful of everyone's time, because we'll just sit here through that video for hours just looking at each other and not doing anything. Okay, it downloaded this thing, this model. If you look at Mistral, in here, LLM, Mistral, there you go. That's your model right here. It's sitting right here. Okay. Now what? What do we do here? I'm basically chunking and reading the paragraphs and basically telling Mistral here, you are helping me train an AI bot based on a book called The Standard. You can change that to anything you want. Given the paragraph below, right up to 3 different natural language questions that could be answered. Let's kind of amp it up a little bit. Let's make it 5. So it's going to read the paragraph, hit the AI model, let the AI model generate questions for you, and then save that as a JSONL, you know, that little format in here, right? And while we're at it, let's go update the kind of JSONL to be the standard mini JSONL. So we're basically targeting the right thing in here. Okay, so talking to AI is talking to AI. We're having AI basically generate 5 questions, 5 different natural language questions to that particular paragraph. Okay, and then at the very end, I'll go down here and basically actually save the JSONL file, right? Based on, and it's going to give me some nice updates about, okay, here's the amount of word count that you had and all that kind of fun stuff. Okay, great. Let's run this thing. So here we go, running. It says I found 1 paragraph to process. Great, that's a great step. Now it's talking to Mistral and it's trying to get from it a bunch of, and I'm going to show you in the command line how Mistral works. It's amazing. Let's give it a second there. It's not odd or weird that it's taking longer. There you go. Watch this beauty. Look at this. What is the difference between single entity service and advanced logic services? What are advanced logic services in a system? Because the orchestration service is advanced logic, higher order business logic. What is the role of an orchestration service in a system? What are the different types of services in a system? So that's pretty cool. It's even digging deeper into the paragraph itself because if you remember, the paragraph itself was basically saying such as processing or foundation services, right? Or advanced logic such as coordination services, aggregation services. I didn't even think about that. Like the model was very smart and it's going to go and say, no, let me extract more. Let me get more than what your eye can see to get data out of this thing. Okay, the rest of this is actually the exact same thing we did before because now that I have this standard mini JSONL, I can basically just completely destroy my fine-tuned, let's delete this fine-tuned folder and let's delete the merge folder and let's just run again, which is the fine-tuning part. The only difference here is that I'm targeting a different data file. Just give me a second here. There you go. Instead of the standard mini JSONL, it'll be standard mini. Before I do that, look at the standard mini JSON. It basically generated every single question it could extract based on the number that it gave it. It kind of barfed on the 5th question because Mistral will give you end of text and the regular expression will reject that. I'll say that doesn't end with a question mark, therefore it's not a question, right? But then it'll just go and basically see, pick up the data, go through the data and try to communicate. This is beautiful. This is exactly what we're trying to do, right? Now, let's go and train our model. It's not a lot of data. It might kind of bug out a little bit when we ask it question, but let's just see. Let's do this together. So all I had to do here is just said, hey, this is the standard mini, target the standard mini, and the exact same thing that we did last time. So I'm going to run the code here. Here we go. Here we go. Quickly. It's cooking. Super fast. So this on that bigger file, it took literally all night. Like I started in the afternoon and I didn't see it be done until like next day in the morning. So just be aware like you're in the manufacturing of AI now, like the manufacturing of building models and whatnot. You're past this point of like prompt AI and have it say smart things. No, you're running it offline, you're hosting it, you're fine-tuning it, and now you're feeding it data that you want to feed, no matter how big that data is. Okay, so this guy's done, created the fine-tuning. Let's merge the world together. Here we go. So we're merging with the base. And then we're going to give it a test. We're going to ask it a question. You see, the thing about these recorded videos, even live videos, is that, I actually don't know what it's going to say, right? So we are just going to have to find out together, right? Okay, so it did the merge. Now let's go ahead and ask it here, what is an orchestration service? I was already asking it that question yesterday. Great. Now let's run this and see what it says. There we go. Oh, I didn't like something. Let's see. What did it not like? It says It says there's no file named PyTorch model in the directory tiny llama merged. Was the merge not done yet? Is that what happened? This is the merge. No, that should be fine. CPU, Coda, that's for your JTX. Let's run it one more time. Huh. Maybe that something corrupted this file while we're building it. Let's go back here. So we did have the fine tuning and we have all the details about the fine tuning. We just want to kick off the merge again. And let's just check fine tune. So fine tune, tiny llama merged, fine tune. Okay, pre-trained. Yeah, everything looks fine. Let's try it again. Let's give it one shot. So I think in here, up here should show up as tiny llama merged. Let's give it a shot there. There we go. And then I'm going to try to run the test. Something is not happy here. So tiny llama merged model file uh, George merge whatever error no file named PyTorch bin model safe tensors or whatever found in the directory of tiny llama merge. I wonder if we have to um, I wonder if we just have to fine tune again, and it should just take us a second, but I think it might be worth the trick. Let's do that. Let's do that. So while we're doing that, here we go. I'm just gonna delete delete this tiny llama merged and take out the fine-tuned, and let's start over. So let's just make sure that the fine-tuned is actually, this is a fine-tuning. It's looking at the standard mini JSONL, which we have right here, the standard mini JSONL, and then fine-tuned, fine-tuned. It's all good. It looks good to me. It looks good to me. Let's try that again. Let's run it real quick here. It's training. And I'm looking for that error while we're at it just to make sure. There we go. There we go. Okay, so now I have that fine-tuned. Let's kick off the merge. Let's kick off the merge again. And I know that the merge is actually getting the base model from there. So it should be fine. We can also kind of point it to Tiny Llama base. That also works. But we could do it either way. And then there's that. If it doesn't work from the model that's coming from the outside world, we're gonna have to try to kind of hit the Tiny Llama base and see if that works just for the time of the video. Let's do this. Here, Tiny Llama merged, right? And just looking this up, it's basically saying you want to make sure that your Tiny Llama merged have one of the following, right? PyTorch model, model safe tensors, TF model, model flax, model. I don't see any of these, but I thought these would be in here, but they're not. It's different kind of things. Okay, a little problem, a little bump. We can fix it. If I do for the merge, let me kind of throw away that merge file folder, and let me go back here and basically say tiny llama base like that. I wonder if it will be able to pick up that cached copy. Let's give it a shot. There we go. This is tiny llama dash base. Give it a second there. Merged and saved. Great. Now what's inside that guy? Ah, I see all the stuff that I need in here. I don't know why it bugged out, honestly, with Like these are the little pieces that I want to kind of ask this thing. It should have worked actually. Like this style here is much better, right? Because that basically doesn't assume that you have anything saved or cached or anything. I'm gonna need to see why that didn't work, but again, videos are real. I'm gonna investigate and debug with you in real time and see what happens. Okay, cool. Now let's go ahead and test again. So let's go to the testing part. We're gonna ask it about orchestration services. Let's hope this time it has some answers for us. Let's go. Here we go. Nice. So I'm basically saying, what is an orchestration service? It says orchestration services are one of the core business logic components in any system, positioned between a single entity, whatever, whatever. In short, it does this. In the context, in summary, amazing. It just works, right? And that's the trick. The trick is to be able to go and say, if I give you some text, some raw text from a file, like I gave it the text in here, but you have to be careful, like the train, like making sure that your data actually looks good and labeled is a whole other world, right? Because you see the book itself is saying as you see in this image or as you see in this figure, but the AI model doesn't know what figure or what image are you talking about. So that might be another thing that we could touch on. So what did we just do? We created this guy, we created the JSONL, right? We basically went through this entire process. We generated this whole thing right now. And then the last thing here, like in these steps, is to basically generate a giga file. This guy right here, which we've done last time. But why not? Let's do it one more time, just for the crew, right? I mean, testing here really is the piece that you want to kind of, focus on. But let's do this one more time. So here's Llama CPP. Let me kind of clear things out. We have that command. We don't have to remember any commands. That's not the world that, I mean, if you do it enough times, sure, but you don't have to do it every time. If you go to the documentation that I provided for you, let me kind of show you the documentation here. This is what exactly, like me in your place. You didn't write these steps. You don't know what these steps are. I would literally just go and just pick up this command. It's basically, as long as you know what it's doing. If you don't know what it's doing, that's a different problem, right? But basically, we went over there and we basically just created the giga file, right? And we're gonna give it, a nice name. So I'm gonna go here in the command line, drop this guy. There we go. And we have this. We have the let's see, tiny llama standard uh, convert h, which is this py file, right? So here's this guy. Also, a nice way of knowing whether um, my documentation actually works or not. So this is standard mini, right? Let's see if that's the command line. No such file or directory. Where I am. Yeah, I'm here. I'm right here. Python. See our documentation again. It basically says cd cpp, go over there and then run python convert py whatever. So is that a folder? I don't think it's a folder. I think it's a standalone convert h. Let's see. So in here we basically said cd llama cpp convert hf to gguff. Convert hf to gguff is a Python file right here, right? So I'm assuming that this is just the command that you want to have in here, not the convert gguff to Python. Let's find out. There you go, Python, and then tiny llama merged, and then standard mini right here. Can't open file convert py. So where's convert py actually? It should be somewhere here. It's not the convert py. Actually, it is this literally convert here. I get it. So convert. So that means I need to update my documentation to gguff py. There you go. That guy. Let's go. Okay. Now tiny llama merged is not a directory. Let's see why is that. So we are in the llama CPP. So we need to get up just one point, just one step up. One step up, and we are in the tiny llama merged, I think. There you go. Fantastic. We have a standard mini. Now let's just run this standard mini guy. So standard mini, you're running a build. Let's see, build, and then bin, and then a tiny llama CLI like this, and then I'm gonna say the model. I'm gonna step out to. Oh, actually, I'm in that model. So model, and then it's basically standard mini.gguff, and then prompt, and the prompt is describe orchestration services. I know, something like that. It's not a question that I asked it or trained it to do, but let's just see what it does. Oh, no, 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 no. It's not doing the right stuff. Let's do that again. So what is orchestration services maybe? What is orchestration services? One more time. Nope. Let's ask it some of the questions that we actually trained it on because the data is so small. So let's go do that. So the standard mini, um, what is the role of orchestration service in a system? Let's take that one. Let's do that. So here we go here. There you go like that. And then boom. Let's see if it can produce something. Still, what is the role of orchestration services in a system? It doesn't like that too much. Standard mini gguff. Yeah, I'm sure I'm talking about orchestration services maybe. It doesn't want to talk to us at all. It got mad at us. Let's see. Let's try that one more time. Explain orchestration services. It's also a generic term, so it can be conflicting with other things. How about we try another question then? Maybe something like, um, what is the difference between single entity service and advanced logic? Let's do that. Doesn't want to talk to us at all. Interesting. I wonder if the model actually that was created, I mean, we did test at the test level. We did say what is orchestration services. I wonder maybe maybe I did the wrong thing when I hold on. So when we generated the gguff file, we basically went and said convert HF to gguff, tiny llama merged, out file standard mini gguff. So that's a brand new thing. And we did test with the tiny llama merged. Like if I run this thing right now on the orchestration service prompt, it worked as far as I remember. Let's give it a shot there. Come on, come on. Yeah, orchestration is one of the core business lines. So we know that this guy works, right? What we need to do, we could probably just I wonder if it wants to do this because of the instructions. Ah, that might be it. Let's try that. So let me go back to our model here. Ba, 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 right here. And then I'm going to drop that like this. So here's an instruction. What is the service? Here's a response, whatever. I wonder if it's going to care about the /n. I don't know. There, look at that. Git aggregate by ID orchestration service. Example of aggregation logic. The orchestration service is typically used in aggregation logic, such as filtering, aggregating, whatever. I'm just looking for specific things that are in the book. Any logic or advanced beyond the aggregation logic. No, it's not. I'm not happy with it. I want more. I want it to do more. So let me kind of clean up the /ns. Maybe that kind of helps for the new line. Input like that, and then response. Let's see if that helps. There. That's what we're looking for. That's the command line. Watch this. Orchestration services are one of the core services in any. Look, and it's writing the code. It's doing everything. It's giving me examples. This is not my code, by the way. Wait for activity, whatever. I don't know where it got that from. It's probably something in the base model itself. But what I really care about is this. Orchestration services are one of the core services in any system positioned between single entity services, such as processing services, advanced logic services, such as coordination services, or simply exposers, blah, 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 blah. So that's basically, right? So why did it insist on having this whole instruction, input, response? The only thing I could think of is that usually if your input is empty like this, it should be happy. But it's something worthy of investigation. Like we should probably investigate and figure out why is it acting like that. But at the end of the day, this is basically how you're doing it, right? I also wanted to show you something for people that are on web because right now I'm still kind of remoting into that. But everyone is going to be like, okay, Hassan, you're running all of these things on your Linux machine. I don't have a Linux machine. I don't have a Linux server. I want to be able to interact with this gguff file on my Windows machine. If you're remoting into a server, whether you own that server or renting it, because a lot of people reached out to me after the first video and they basically said, Hassan, I don't have an Ubuntu, I don't have a machine. You could rent a server, right? Go just spin up an instance or rent a server and basically just remote into it. That's not a big deal. But how do you get that gguff file? That's the fun part. Let me kind of see if I still have the do I still have the command for that? That would be nice. I don't know if it'll remember. Let's see. Probably not. PowerShell. Maybe here. I'll show. There you go. This I love this. So what this is doing basically is that it's remoting. It's doing an SCP. You have to install an open SSH. And basically, I'm just saying hit this machine right there behind me, right? And then go get me this file, right? So the file that I'm really trying to get actually is not this guy. It's the not the trained llama. It's mini, the standard mini, standard underscore mini or dash mini dot gguff. Let's hit that guy. It wants the password. Let's enter the password. Something really smart knew that people will be streaming videos and decided to kind of hide things. Users Hassan download. Let's see. I just need to kind of put the exact thing. Okay, so let's try this again. Oh, too much. Standard mini. I want to verify that we actually called it standard mini because I forget things all the time. Standard-mini.gguff. That's exactly what we have. Let's go back here and do this. So downloads. Yeah, that should work. There you go. It's downloading. Yay! So what I basically did is just SCP Hassan, put the IP, go find the exact kind of directory within that Ubuntu server, and basically go ahead and download it. It's gonna take some time to download, but it has this nice, it doesn't matter. I have like the some really fast router that should kind of support that, but it's kind of still working on that. Let me kind of get that. Let me get that file from here, just for everyone, from my downloads folder. It's still downloading the folder. We're gonna put it in its own nice little folder, and then we'll go from there. Here we go. Yeah, so it's basically done with it, right? Now can I actually run this guy? Where did I install my my tiny llama? On Windows, right? I'm gonna need to go find where that guy is. If you give me a second here, I need a so uh, CD users. Yeah, it doesn't tell me exactly. Let me go find where I put that. By the way, you're gonna actually have to, and for people just wondering, you're gonna have at some point in time to basically build your CLI on Windows. And you can do that. It's not a big deal. Like if you have the right tooling, you can build it. Maybe I'll talk about it at some point in time. But let me kind of just find a quick um, I know that I left it on the desktop, and basically there's AI data, AI resources. I know it's somewhere. Yeah, there it is. Let me kind of copy and paste what I downloaded into. So this is standard mini, and then I'm gonna go back here. Do you guys remember like this view where I basically said here's that standard mini, right? And we can basically go and open it up. I'm just going to open a command line in here, right? And see if I can ping this guy. So llama CLI, and then basically say model, and then put the model as standard mini ggof. Can I actually talk to it? Prompt, what is orchestration services? I know you can't see it. It's off the, yeah, there you go. That's much better. What is orchestration services? Let's see if that works. Can it actually talk to it? It can. Look at that. What is orchestration services? But what is the prompt that we gave it last time that actually worked? This guy right here. Let's copy that here. So jumping super fast and easy um, between Linux and Windows, right? So I don't know if it's 3 hashes. That's right. Let's try this. Is it actually working? Yeah, there you go. Watch this. We built it on Linux. We productionized AI, right? And basically it works. Look at that. Advanced logic. It's typically used to aggregate whatever, whatever. I know it's sometimes it's hallucinating, and we'll talk about really, really synthesizing the data and fine-tuning the data and whatnot. But that's wild. Look, as soon as it says processing foundation coordination and advanced logic, you know it's picking up from the standard, right? You know exactly it's picking up from the standard. But is it kind of going crazy and hallucinating? Yeah, it is. It's of course it's kind of we're feeding it in a very small set of data, and based on that small set, it's kind of a wild card whether it's going to be able to kind of give you what you want or not. See, when I gave it the second run, it basically said an orchestration service a component system that enable multiple business logic components to collaborate. That's beautiful. I wouldn't have said it better than that. To complete a single business process, it's often seen as a logical entity similar to a controlled single entity. Now it's hallucinating again, and then it just keeps going back and forth like that. So that's a journey, right? That's our journey here. As usual, we have little bumps on the road, but we can figure them out super quick. If you go into this repository, AI Llama Training Offline, I've added these files for you. So I added the PDF to text file in here. You can have that right here. I also added the generate JSONL. This one is the biggest part of this show today, right? This one here, that's the guy that basically picks up your raw text and turn it into something useful. Learn it, play with it, do whatever you want, and then maybe I need to add also the Hugging Face kind of command to kind of help you download, just like I showed you, you're downloading a Hugging Face, sorry, a model from the Hugging Face and whatnot. I can update that documentation there. Really, this is something that can get you up to speed super fast with AI, running AI offline. There's still a lot for us to learn. I'm still kind of, going back and forth and trying to get as much resources as I can to kind of learn about AI, the theory behind AI. What's a bag of words? What's an attention strategy and mechanism? What is encoder, decoder? What is all these things that people keep repeating, that kind of play into this amazing revolution of technology. I hope you find this a little bit useful. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to drop a comment in the comment section, and talk to you later. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Take care.